Shabbat Shalom Yasharal, brothers and sisters. I'm coming to you today on Real Talk with Yehuda about a topic that keeps on coming up, and we need to get this cleaned up.
There's a Charmander over there.
All right, thank you. We need to get this issue cleaned up among our people, and it keeps on coming up with this single mother issue. And what our sisters need to understand and really get this cleaned up and cleared up so that we could clean house, so that the Most High can bless us. See, when we keep on dealing in wickedness, the Most High can't bless us, man. Like, we still dealing in wickedness and sin. We need to get this stuff cleaned up. So what keeps on coming up, and I know a lot of you brothers have seen it, and a lot of brothers are speaking out about it, and a lot of brothers are coming together, and we're setting a standard, and brothers are saying no. And what keeps on happening is this. You have sisters. Now, sisters, y'all know good and well, okay? And this ain't to try to beat you down, but the truth is the truth. Sisters, you was living in wickedness. You was in fornication, adultery, all kinds of different stuff. Now, this video ain't gonna keep delving into the stuff you did in the past, or what sisters ought to, what's done is done. So, now that you sisters have children that are from these wicked men that you were never married to, you now have scripturally what the Bible calls mumsers. Okay? These children and women who participate in that type of behavior, we need to understand something. Get in the Torah and spend you some time looking at the commandments, the statutes, the ordinances, and the ways. And what you're going to find out, women that participate in fornication, adultery, immorality, whoredom, etc., are cut off from the community. Them and the children born from that, cut off from the community. So, sisters, y'all need to understand, number one, any scripture that is talking about widows does not apply to you, my sister. Okay? Don't apply, sisters. You are not a widow indeed. This is why the scripture says stuff about widows who are widows indeed. That means, sister, you was a virgin. You married a man. You had children or so with that man, or even if you didn't have children, but you were married to that one man, that's the only man you'd have been with, and that man dies. Now you are a widow indeed. Now you are free to marry again, etc. Every scripture that talks about the fatherless, y'all need to understand this and stop trying to weasel your way out. Fatherless means that man died. So those children do not have a father. He is dead. That does not cover up for your immoral behavior. When you was out in the world engaging in immorality, and now you have these children, the scripture is not talking about you, about anything about caring for the widows and the orphans or the fatherless, or being a father to the fatherless, or being role models to the women who engaged in immorality. And those children that are bred from that were cut off from the community. So now what keeps coming up is to say, okay, these things happened in the past. What about a woman who's repented, etc.? And it's okay. Where's the man? Where's the father? And I know brothers, y'all hearing this, Brothers, we tired of hearing this. Sisters, y'all need to get this cleaned up. The number one response is this, and I know y'all all heard it. The number one response is, well, what if the dad ain't in the truth? And he's still the father. So what's happening is, sisters, y'all are wanting to do this. Y'all are wanting to usurp the authority over a man. Whether that man is in the truth or not. You laid down with that wicked man. You had children by that wicked man. And those children are the offspring from a wicked man. And guess what? He is still the father, and he is still the authority of those children. So where is the man? And then I've heard this a couple of times, and not to call any sisters out, but I've had sister, message or comment or inbox or something like that. Well, what happens if the father don't want the children? And my response has always been this: it's a case-by-case basis, because I don't know all of the details of your situation or everybody's situation. And it's not my business to know everybody's business. If somebody didn't feel, they didn't come to me and ask or share or whatever, it ain't my business to know what everybody got going on. Not my business. So I don't try to get in everybody's business like that. Okay? But what we can say is this: if you were engaging in immorality and you had these children, do not expect a righteous man to then come and take you and those children. Where is that man's father? And do not try to use any scripture that talks about widows or fatherless children for your cause, because the scripture is against your cause. The scripture calls what you did fornication, immorality, wickedness, and those women were cut off from among Israel. And so were the children. So what's supposed to happen if you sisters are truly repented is you give custody to the man. Don't matter if that man is in the truth or not. It does not matter. He is the father. And then what you find out, you got a lot of these sisters saying, oh, well, the father did be the father, don't want the kids, or this or that. No. Two sides to the story. Let's talk to these men. Where are these men at? I would love to speak to some of these men that these sisters are talking about. Because what you gonna find out, and the court statistics prove so, 90% or more, those men want their children. The men just don't want to deal with you no more. That man don't want to have no dealings with you, sister. That man want his kids. He don't want you. And so what y'all are doing, sisters, is y'all playing these court games. And what you want to do is take the man to court, drag the man to court, have child support, all of these types of things. And then talking about, well, he don't want to be a father. No, that man don't want to deal with you. So how about you give that man custody, you get that man off child support, you stop doing all of this stuff, getting in that man's pockets and stuff, and you get that man his children. So that man don't have to deal with you. And what you're going to find out is over 90% of the case, or 90% of the times, that's what the case is. That these men love their children. These men want their children. Them men, for whatever y'all breakup was, I don't care. It's not my business why y'all broke up. But that man want his children. And the court statistics show over 90%, the woman broke up with the man. So that man didn't just leave. The woman broke up with the man. And it was for non-abusive reasons. So that means that man wasn't beating on y'all. That man wasn't beating on you. He wasn't abusing you. He wasn't abusing the children. No, that's less than 10%. Less than 10%. So sisters, if you fall into that less than 10%, I feel for you. I empathize with you case by case. I can't give no advice or something or speak an opinion when I don't know the situation. But what we can say is this, is guess what? According to Torah, let's say that you sisters were married and then you had a divorce. You know what's supposed to happen according to Torah? According to Torah, number one, the woman, you can't even divorce your husband. According to Torah, ladies understand, according to Torah, if you're supposed to be repented, see, we ain't worried about with the heathen, we talking about repented. So if you are repented, understand, ladies, you can't just divorce your husband. The husband can write a bill of divorce and put it in your hand and send you away with nothing. So that means that man ain't paying you no child support. He ain't paying you no alimony. You ain't digging in that man's pockets. And guess what? Even beyond that means that you didn't take the man's kids. He sent you with nothing. That's Torah. That's thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Most High. Thus saith Ahia. Thus saith Yahuwah. The man would hand you a bill of divorce and send you out of his home with nothing. You pack up your bag and you leave. And you leave that man's children. That's Torah. So for you sisters, what y'all need to do, and I'm not trying to bash you sisters, but this situation or this issue or this topic keeps coming up. And sisters, y'all need to understand, look, get cleaned up and do the right thing. Get cleaned up and do the right thing. And the right thing is to turn over custody to those men. And over 90% of those men want those children. But the men don't want to deal with you. So we need to stop playing around and twisting the scriptures and talking about fatherless and widows. Baby, you was never married. You not a widow. Baby, that man's still alive. Your children not fatherless. Baby, you was the one in wickedness with a wicked man. Understand, the scripture lets you know a wicked woman is appointed for a wicked man. So that means, sisters, if you was wicked, you got a wicked man. Brothers, if you was wicked, you got a wicked woman. So now that you in the truth, you need to get that cleaned up. Now that you in the truth, you got to get that cleaned up. So that means, sisters, you need to turn over custody to the men. And we all know over 90%, the men want the children. For the 10% or less than 10% that fall into the category where maybe the man beat you, the man abused the children, the man really did run off and leave you or something like that, that has to be a case-by-case basis. But you cannot expect or demand a righteous man to take you and those children. If it happens to be on a man's heart, or Yahuwah move a man in his spirit a certain way to have compassion on a sister like that, by all means. By all means. But do not sit here and try to twist the scripture talking about fatherless and widows or orphans or any of this type of stuff, and then sit up there thinking that means that us brothers that are living in the truth and we got our households in order, that we supposed to in any way be responsible for your children. No, that's wickedness. Those men are alive, and those men need their children, and those children need their fathers. So that's all I'm gonna say about it on this edition, man. But this is something that we need to get cleaned up among the house of Yasharal. This needs to be cleaned up. So you sisters, what happens, and I've spoke about this in other videos, what happens is this, sisters, once you get that cleaned up, now you are free and clear to be a man's wife. Now a righteous man can marry you. And I'm gonna say this last thing also, is this. And I know a lot of brothers have talked about this, and sisters, y'all need to understand this, and y'all need to be honest with yourselves, sister. You know that if a righteous man was to try to father your children, be a role model for your children, set a good example for your children, marry you or anything like that, right? However the variations may be. What happens when that man is ready to discipline that child? Huh? What happens when that man is ready to discipline that child? So if that man take off his belt, then what? And we all know you sisters is going to want to usurp that man's authority. What happens, sisters and brothers, y'all need to pay attention also. If this woman is usurping the authority over her father's children, and she's taking those children from that man wants those children, she got that man on child support, etc., etc., etc. She's usurping his authority. What do you think that sister's gonna do to you? Sisters, what you think you gonna do to the next man? Food for thought. I guarantee you what's going to happen is this. Sisters, you going to usurp the authority over that righteous man. Brothers, beware. That sister will usurp your authority. She will usurp your authority the same way that she's doing it to those children's father. So then what happens, brothers? You get with this sister, now you got children with this sister, or a child or something with this sister. You done seen what she did to the next man, or the last man, or whatever, what you think she gonna do to you. So what happens when you set a standard in your household? What happens when you ready to discipline those children? What happens when you tell that sister no? Or what happens when you set standards or rules in your household that sister don't like? What happens then? What happens if y'all relationship hit some hard times? Every relationship gonna hit some hard times. My wife and I have been together for 8 years. We've hit some tough times. All praises to the Most High. We've gone through those times and he's brought us out stronger. And he's blessed us with joy and everything now. So brothers and sisters, understand what's going to happen when those situations come up. You want to usurp the authority over that other man and his children, but then you want to come to the righteous man. And when that righteous man get ready to discipline those children, you going to have a problem. When that righteous man get ready to tell you no about something, you going to have a problem. When that righteous man say something that you don't agree about, you going to have a problem. And brothers, what do you think these sisters are going to do to you? If she did it to that other man, she will do it to you. So then guess what? If she don't sit there and understand that and believe the Torah and she don't agree with that and all of that stuff, then guess what? If she come and the Torah tells you this kind of stuff, it lets you know this. So if she come and she become your wife and then she's being wicked, or she's not doing what she's supposed to do, or she won't humble herself or submit herself, so she's not bringing you joy and doing what a wife's supposed to do, and then you say, I got to get rid of this woman, and you want to write her a bill of divorce, you don't think she finna take your kids too? Or you don't think, see, this is what y'all need to understand, how wicked this Babylon and this Egypt is. See, that sister been and came in with them kids that's not yours, and then y'all end up having a divorce. It don't work out. Guess what? That sister finna have you on the hook for child support and everything else. And she'll get it. Because she'll sit there and say, you've been a father to those children and you the only father those children have known. And you need to support those children. And the courts are saying, yep. So brothers, if you want to sit there and condone that mess, and you want to aid and abet these sisters in doing this wickedness, and you not setting a standard and you demanding, no, sisters, you go get this right, then guess what? A wicked woman is appointed for a wicked man. Because if you are aiding and abetting these sisters in doing this wickedness, brothers, you are not righteous. You are a wicked man. And so you will get justice. If you aid and abet this wicked woman, if you aid and abet these sisters and doggone kidnapping these children, that's what it really is, okay? You aid and abetting all of this and talking about, oh, and you let this woman twist the scriptures on you, then you're going to get what you deserve. So with that being said, Shabbat Shalom, Yasharal. This has been real. It's been Real Talk with Yehuda. I'll see y'all next time. Shalom.